Ah, yes, I didn't have sound. There we go. I was muted. Can you hear me? Ah, thank you. Dylan Precision. Worth the money. Because now no one can see what I'm seeing. Um, I pay a lot of fucking money in taxes, and the past couple years have really, really made me angry. So, living in Arizona, we had the Red for Ed movement, and that was teachers protesting they didn't make enough money. I get teaching is a low paying job for a college graduate. Their starting salary is $47,000 a year. 47,500 actually in the local school district to me. They work 190 calendar days a year. If you were to make that all 52 weeks a year and break down the 10 federal holidays that full-time employers typically give off, that works out to $63,000 a year, which is actually above engineering, entry-level engineering jobs pay in a lot of places, especially if you get into the government sector where they're paying like $55,000 a year for recent college grads in mechanical engineering. And they work 190 days of school a year, and there's the school day is 6.5 hours. So even if they took it out to 8 hours based on the current standards of education, where it is block scheduling in high school, elementary school, not as much, but teachers still have breaks throughout the day. To take it out to 8 hours, they would have anywhere from 2 to 3 hours without students that they could do grading at school to make an 8 hour workday. If you break it down by the 190 days on the school calendar, they work out to making about $30 an hour. And these teachers fucking protested that they want more money. And now they're talking nationwide about sick outs if their students are expected to go back to school. For what? You don't earn your pay. What raise have you earned? Nothing. You have not earned a raise. I live in a state that consistently comes in 47th or 48th out of 50. They consistently want to stage sick outs or walkouts to demand more money for 190 days a year. Are you fucking kidding me? Um, I paid $24,000 in taxes last year. $24,000 in taxes. I paid half their fucking salary in taxes. Guess what? I don't have a college education. I'm high school educated. So you have teachers protesting. Well, these teachers are protesting for more money. What are they teaching students? Because typically in Portland and everything like that, you're seeing the people that are in their mid 30s. However, those are the ones getting arrested. The ones that are evading police, the ones that are starting all the agitator shit, the ones going down there and screaming at cops with no consequence. Early 20s. Sorry if the camera's shaky. Arizona roads are shit. Because of the heat. They melt. So these students have no consequence. What the fuck are their teachers teaching them? I mean, I think we're getting our answer out of it. And now, the other thing is you have the Capitol where they smash windows. They should not have done that. I fully agree. Now, I am not going to sit here and shit on the dudes that I typically align with in view, but in this one case, I kind of disagree. Women are emotional creatures, yes. I was not pearl clutching at the DC shit. I wasn't doing the pearl clutching. Oh my god, they smashed windows. How dare they? Um, because it was fruitless to do so. Um, Now, granted, most of the guys I agree with, they understood that yes, this was not as severe as Minneapolis, Kenosha, Portland, New York, Baltimore, Detroit, Louisville, Kentucky, anything like that. Um, Better than your state roads. You have ice and you salt the roads. There's a difference. Um, that will tear up roads. I'm from Baltimore. We salt the roads as well. Um, so you have these young people going and agitating and throwing Molotovs. Um, by the way, the one guy in Kenosha that they said was a felony robbery, he was listed as being 50 years old in his rap sheet. So I do not think it was the same guy. I think the guy who got shot, the guy who got shot in the arm was a junior. I do not think he was the guy who got charged with breaking and entering and robbery, felony robbery. That's one detail that I noticed a lot of people missed. A lot of people. So, all right, getting back to my point. You have these kids who are agitating. Well, at the Capitol, that wasn't a whole lot of young people, at least not in the same demographic as the Portland, Kenosha, Minneapolis riots. It was actually people old enough to be my parents. And that's the fucking frightening thing. Now, granted, they were like, oh, they're armed, and I saw a lot of pictures pointing to the Michigan Capitol protests. So they were armed and blah, blah, blah. No, the fuck they weren't. Those were the Michigan Capitol, or those were Arizona. You know why I know they're Arizona? Because I live in fucking Arizona. Um, that there was a lot of misleading content put out there, a lot of misleading photographs, shit like that. So you have all of that going on, and then you have these older people going up and breaking windows. Don't break the windows. I had no problem with them taking the stairs of the U.S. Capitol. I had no problem with that. It was the second shit started getting broken and they started entering offices, because these same people that are the working class, half of them are probably union, and God forbid their fucking employer enter their work locker, because oh boy, that would be interesting to see the outrage from that. So entering their offices, that it's the equivalent of having a locker at a blue collar job. That's your office, where you store your personal belongings and everything like that. Don't steal laptops that could have classified shit on them too. That's stupid. Um, that's where I see the protests, and I say they're no better than what happened over the summer, like action wise. They're not. Their end goal and what their actions taken. Yes, they were better. Their mentality was no better than that of the summer. They felt slighted. They got angry, and they wanted to lash out. That's where the mentality was no better, but scale of destruction exponentially better. There were no businesses that were harmed in it, despite how the federal government operates and attempts to operate like a business, a very poorly run business, mind you. The smartest thing they've done recently is decide to scrap the Bonhoeffer shard, because fiscally it is more responsible. Um, and they can put the good parts back in the supply system. for ships that need it. But to sit there and clutch your pearls and go, oh my God, they shouldn't have done that. No shit. No fucking shit. They shouldn't have done that. But you know what? Our fucking Congress acts like they are royals. They act like they're holier than thou. Um, and that's where I get angry. The Constitution, no nobility, nothing, no nobility, no titles. Um, the whole, do you know who I am? Yeah, I know exactly who you are. You're my fucking employee. Now, granted, I personally am bitter about taxes because of the tax code, the way it is written, and I vote against every tax, every chance I get, except for one. I voted for a tax this year. I voted for a weed tax because it legalized recreational use of a plant. I don't give a shit if you want to smoke a plant. I've never done it, but I don't care if you want to. You do you, boo boo. It doesn't hurt anybody. They want to tax it at 16%, whatever. I mean, granted, I'm not going to have any tax reduction because they're doing it, so that's an unfortunate thing. I mean, if they said, we'll reduce your taxes if we're going to legalize cocaine too, I mean, hell, you'll have a very productive society and you're going to have a very productive workforce, and I pay less in taxes. Fuck yeah. um, I was joking about how productive Portland's going to be when I found out they pretty much legalized all the hard drugs. It's like, well, you're going to have a giant sector that's not productive because of heroin and opioids, but all your meth and coke heads, they're shit, extremely productive. Very, very productive, working long hours. They'll take all the overtime. Um, we have solved our national deficit. Um, but yeah, that's cool. It's but when you get beyond that though, I own that building. I own the U.S. Capitol building. I'm a taxpayer. It's my fucking building as much as it is anybody else who pays any U.S. citizen who pays taxes. Um, any U.S. resident, legal resident, taxpayer. It is your building. Um, shouldn't have broken windows. It's not the end of the world, though. It's not. It far from it. In fact, they were far less destructive. It's their own tax dollars, and given the age of a lot of people in there, they are paying a hell of a lot of their income in taxes because their children are probably grown. They probably have, some of them probably have pretty fucking good jobs, blue collar, where they pay a lot in taxes. Um, and they don't have kids. Some of them, they have spouses. Oh, I agree, noble taxation is theft. But I would rather, here's my view on taxes. If I had to pay state taxes to pay for a standardized police force instead of I pay for X security and I live under the dictation of my neighborhood because I hate HOAs. I absolutely despise HOAs. I would rather pay taxes and have a police force that serves everyone than have private security hired by an HOA who dictates not only like who receives security, what deems an emergency, and but the danger of an HOA is they're given broad spectrum to dictate what I do with my house. If I'm paying the mortgage on that house, you should not be able to dictate what color I can paint my house. Now, granted, there are some fuck ugly colors out there. That I really wish people wouldn't paint their houses, but if you like your house in that fuck ugly color, that's the other thing. It shouldn't degrade the value of my house. HOAs do nothing to raise the value of homes. I live in a non-HOA neighborhood that I live in a non I'm parked by the way. I live in a non-HOA neighborhood and my house that I'm living in has gone up 150% in value. So have the HOA neighborhoods. The thing about the HOA neighborhoods that makes their houses so expensive is they're typically bigger. They're newer. The house I'm living in right now is 40 years old and it has a lot of work going on in it. The houses in the HOAs, they don't need as much work. But you know what? My neighbor doesn't like me parking in the driveway because my house flooded and I can't park in my garage while I'm storing everything in my garage. There's nothing I can do about it. I have to park outside the neighborhood and walk my happy ass to my house. Well, that's their problem. That's their problem if they're like, well, I don't want this house because this other house that I'm not even trying to buy is painted this fuck ugly color. If you're intent on shooting your Christmas cards out in front of your house with all the decorations, you know Photoshop exists. You can make the neighbor's house a different color, right? Um, just saying. It it's it's interesting how much they're allowed to dictate. They can dictate like you can't park cars in your driveway. You can't park cars on the street. You can't have X amount of cars at your house because you can't park them in the garage. Like if we live, there's one HOA near me that my boyfriend could not own his truck because it wouldn't fit in the garage of the house. Well, you're not allowed to park any vehicle outside of the garage. Well, what happens when you have a teenager that starts to drive? You're still stuck sharing cars. Um, because you're not allowed to park outside your garage. Oh, I want to add on to my garage, or I want to build another garage in my backyard that I can access from the alley. No, fuck you. No independent buildings established. That's not okay. That's actually worse than taxes because that is some arbitrary people that hold meetings in the middle of average work days. I don't work a normal work day, so I could actually show up like it's 3:30. And speaking of, Drunkle's going to be late, so I'll probably go in a few minutes because then he'll be starting. But that's all I wanted to get on and bitch about was both sides are wrong. They're pearl clutching over the other side. Or you have people that are on the same side that thought the actions were extreme and they're pearl clutching, going, oh my God, it's so extreme that they broke the windows. Nothing was lit on fire. No businesses were harmed. Was it wrong? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, they were adults. They fucking knew better. Their temper tantrums were exactly that. They were tantrums of a child. But and they're ruining it for people like me. I wore this shirt on purpose today because I knew I was going to do this stream. Um And but when Congress acts like they are holier than thou, that they do not answer to us. When you have the now president-elect saying, "I don't work for you," and it's a taxpayer at a factory on the campaign trail. Yeah, actually you do. You collect a pension from the government. So you did work for me at some point. You're still taking my tax money. So yeah, you do. Um, it's annoying. It's old. And it's got to stop. So, and then all of those people, all the shitheads that were protesting, thank God they did. Well, actually, they did do it in Phoenix. They looted the Scottsdale Mall because that's where all the rich people shop. My insurance costs are going to go up because of their actions. These people, if they do drive, they're probably uninsured, or they're driving some beater that if it gets totaled, they're going to spend 500 and get another one. And they're going to keep the minimum collision insurance on their vehicles, but not comprehensive, whichever. Yeah, comprehensive, no, minimum comprehensive, so in case they damage some property, it happens. No, they keep collision on their car, collision, because if they get in a car collision, they're covering somebody else's vehicle. That is on the same aspect fucking annoying that I'm penalized because people want to throw tantrums and destroy shit that isn't theirs, that isn't mine, but I pay for it in the end. Isn't that some fucked up shit? You're gonna pay for if you live in if you live in Minnesota, if you live in Wisconsin, if you live in Oregon, fuck Brutus, you live in New York, you will pay one way or another for everything that was destroyed this summer. Your insurance rates are going to go up. It's going to cost more to have business insurance if you have that. It's going to cost more to tag a car. Your taxes are going to go up to recover all the businesses that the money costs so much to recover the buildings. They're going to have to pay. You're going to have to pay more in taxes because the government has to step in and bolster what the gap between insurance and what it actually costs to fix the building. So there will be more to come. I'll go on a further rant later detailing it and breaking it down. I have graphs and charts at home, but the boyfriend's asleep. Our flooring's torn up right now, so it's just cement slabs, so it echoes fucking everywhere in the house. And I have the equivalent of shower thoughts while I'm driving. So it was really a lot easier to get this out. So, yeah, I'm going over to Drunkle's channel. I'll catch y'all in chat.